Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hygiene Zero here, back with another quick movie review. This one's again somewhat one of my favorites. Well, I'm going to be reviewing all four, and the first three are pretty much my favorites. So yeah, this is House Party 2. Again, the main two leads are back. Kid in play, and of course Full Force, who are the bullies, I believe, are back. Martin Lawrence, Tisha Campbell. I know I'm missing somebody. Oh, Queen Latifah. Um, and who else? I can't really think. Iman is she's on here, and the dude from Stargate Atlantis with the can't remember his name, but I think his name was Christopher Judge or Judd. But yeah, this one's pretty much the life after high school. Of course, it's not play, but kid, he's going to college. And you know this really reflected a lot on me because even though this movie had came out in the 90s, I only saw bits and pieces, and of course I was young, I really didn't understand it. But right after high school, I had seen this no right after college, I had finally seen this movie. I already saw the first one when I was a little bit younger, when I understood more, of course, and what I was watching. But this one's just pretty much, it was more focused on a college aspect, which I really liked, and they intentionally did that on purpose. And the best comparison I could say about this movie, it was indirectly, which is another movie I'm going to review later on, is a lighthearted mirror image of the movie Higher Learning. And here is why. In Higher Learning, I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and then I'm going to go right back to House Party. So in Higher Learning, you had three main characters. You had three freshmen. One was a white girl, one was a white boy, and the other one was a black boy. They were, of course, all freshmen. And the main one I want you to focus on, or I'm going to pair, is with the black boy, because his character pretty much mirrors a little bit of Kid's character, except they're two different people. It's just the situation they've been put into is pretty much the same. So of course, when you go to college, you're all getting a much more, of course, higher learning and a real world experience before you get into the work world, even though it kind of sucks that it doesn't prepare you that much unless you're going into business management as a degree or something. But just more of the social interaction. And even me personally, that's what I experienced firsthand. I still remember saying some stupid and shitty things, even in high school, into going into college. And the good thing, work-wise, of course, that was pretty understandable, but social wise, that's when everything flipped, and it stood out that I was a freshman. So because now I interact with it a little bit with the so-called kids today. There's only a few that I know of who are actually mature and aren't stupid or anything like that, or they just get the social cue. So pretty much the next big major chunk of this is kid has to pay his college tuition, and that's one of the main focal points that keeps him studying, and it was a good thing. And one of the main quotes I like from this movie, is a mind's a terrible thing to waste, and which is very true. But it just sucks that even though you want to get a higher learning in this country, that's going to cost you a lot of money unless you're already smart coming out of high school, where you can go to school for free on a scholarship. But even though I believe, well, what's happening right now, even though I think that's very, very slim. But the good thing is that I'm glad that I went for a year. The only thing that jacked me up is that personally they changed my, I moved, and then the program I wanted they didn't have, so I got stuck into a program I didn't want to do. But when I get into No Country for Old Men, I'll talk a little bit more about that, even though I'm supposed to be talking about the movie. But pretty much my like what Queen Latifah said in the movie, her consciousness evolved the same way mine's did. And the good thing is that even though I only did like 1 year, I still learned a lot, and I'm still learning. And, every day I keep I'm either reading, I'm either writing, drawing, just learning something new. And of course, talking to people, and getting some insight from them. So I am glad about that, and I've learned a lot, especially now. The biggest thing I've done a better job at, and was need to be said by anybody, is number one, think before you speak, and two, don't believe everything that's told to you. So good example, a lot of stuff that goes on in the media, until I hear it from like 3 or 4 different sources, I really don't make a conclusion until, especially in a whole open discussion. Now, I may have some assumptions, I may think about it, but I'm not going to sit there and say that dumb shit out loud. Yeah, I'm just keeping it 100, and it sucks because there are a lot of people who are doing that. Even right now with the whole MAGA guys in front of that Native American. And again, I'm not siding with either side. Most likely I'll side with the Native Americans because they're the least the ones to start up some kind of shit. But, until I get more information, I'm not going to sit there and make a, full-fledged conclusion. And the good thing is that I've proven myself, and, time and time again, it is true. Good example is the Starbucks incident, but again, back to the movie. So mainly with what I learned and what the character also learned in the movie, or I've experienced, is more on how his ignorance really didn't fly. You can tell he was a freshman by some of the stupid stuff he was saying, and I think in his black philosophy class. And that was another good comparison from Higher Learning, because Lawrence Fishburne pretty much plays the same teacher that's in this. And another quick thing I did like about this movie as well, when he got to college, Kid had 2 male, or most likely father mentors that were there, and I can relate to that one too, because I also had 2. And one was in the form of the teacher, and the other one was the military guy, the old school military guy that he was working with in the dining hall or whatnot. He was studying work, and that was a good thing for him, because of course the movie picked up right after his dad had passed, and then it went into this. So that was kind of neat. It just blows that the 2 men didn't have any scenes together. But the thing that stood out the most was when he was questioning him, telling him about Malcolm X and this, that, and the other. And, it just blows. I don't have Malcolm X. I will review it if you guys want me to. But just like what Malcolm had learned and what the character had learned, is that stupid, ignorant bullshit that you've been taught, you need a little dose of reality that's going to prove you wrong. Now, don't get me wrong, in this country, we still do have a lot of, race relations, but that's mostly has been fabricated by people on both sides. You can, I see it as people. You can say victim or the oppressor all you want to, but 2 wrongs don't make a right. And also, I don't expect any special privilege because I am black. I will say that. But I also know that I'm going to get discriminated against. I know that for a fact too. And I understand the whole psychology of it. But at the same time, that's the thing that's in the back of my mind. It's not the first go-to, that I go to when I'm confronted with something. And then I'm going to touch more on this when I get to Higher Learning, because it's a hard reality, harsher one on that movie than this one. But like what the character Jamal said, he believed in the fellowship and the brotherhood of all men, because when Malcolm went to Mecca, he realized that there were Muslims of different shades of color, not just what he was taught, in America. And, just like what the character was learning, he gets no special privilege. Everybody technically is supposed to be the same, even though indirectly he was talking about affirmative action just a tad bit, which I kind of don't like, because I really do believe that a person should be on the team if, or a team or workplace, based on their skill and experience, not really, because of color of their skin. And it was funny because even when I worked at McDonald's, and, I could have been petty about it, but before I got into it with the manager, he had indirectly said that about one of his other managers. I think he just turned into the store manager. after the guy who left, who I didn't want to leave, had left, and he was telling someone else when they hire someone or interview them, yeah, you have to, yeah, when you do this, you can't really just hire. Well, pretty much he said, don't do a pattern of your hiring. Pretty much like if you're a white person, don't be hiring all white people, and all your black applicants or Latino or slightly disabled, you discriminate against them, as to put that as an example. You know, me personally, McDonald's is like the novice of the workforce. Pretty much anybody can get a job like that. You know, they can put you as manager really, really quickly. But, you know, you see my point. It was more of, you don't get no special privilege. And, you know, again, I definitely agree with that, because I don't want to be on a team or in leadership and I haven't had the experience or no one has taught it to me. Yeah, that's just setting me up for failure, you know. So, and to make it even worse, nowadays, people love to blame other people for some shit, you know, and you don't see it from their perspective or is out of context or whatever. So, you know, the good thing is that this movie, it had a lot of social cues, even though it was a comedy. The thing that got me the most was kid's roommate. And it's funny, one of my coworkers said he actually met this guy, but he was a white guy in a rap group in New York, and it's like the only one film he's done. I think his name is the character's name is Jamal. I can't remember his real name, but kid was pretty much shocked that he was pretty much, you know, he was no different than any other brother that he knows in the hood. And he even told him at one point, you know, Jamal, you know, speak white. And I was like, what the fuck? And that reminds me of a meme when they were saying stop telling, you know, was pretty much stop telling black kids who like different things or they speak a certain way to stop acting white. And indirectly, it kind of happened, I think, with my brother when he was younger. I think it was the way he was dressed, and it sucks because now I would definitely tell her, I think it was my stepsister, I would tell her a definitely harsher reality, you know, especially living there in Texas, let alone Atlanta. Yeah, and I would tell them, okay, you got two black guys. One's dressed up all thugged out, and then you got another one with khakis and a polo. The police roll by, $10. Who are they going to sit there and try to stop first? So, number one, that's how I see it. And then number two, yeah, they may stop me, but if I know how to talk to the police and negotiate with them, ain't no shit gonna happen, you know. And even when I get to Street Kings, I'm also going to talk about that too, you know, dealing with the police. And that even indirectly, that same trope was in the first movie when they were messing with Robin Harris, even though it was a throwaway joke. It just sucks that, again, reminiscent of what happened to me that one time. I think I talked about that in a previous video where I got stopped by the cops. But, you know, I'm just rambling on now. Pretty much the movie's just straightforward. Again, Queen Latifah, this set it off, and Juice were my favorite movies with her in it. Oh, and Breaking Down the House. She did a good job in this. This is the actual Queen Latifah I really wanted. Right now, I would not mind dating, you know. I'm going to leave my opinion lightly on, you know, not saying who she is now, but, you know, you can even see her in the thumbnail right next to the O and the U. That's the Queen Latifah I wanted, you know, to date, you know, when I was in college, you know. But anyway, I'll see you guys on the next movie, and I will talk to you later. Peace.